Gamescomil aitab seigelda punktid.ee.
Eile sai siis järgi proovitud The Witcher 3-st tuntuks saanud kaardikogumismäng Gwent ning täna oleme tagasi tulnud CD Projekt Redi alasse, et mängust natukene lähemalt rääkida ka. Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. You?
Doing good. I'm doing good as well. Thank you very much. Maybe for the like 4 people out there who haven't heard about The Witcher 3 and Gwent yet, could you tell us what Gwent actually is?
Yes, so Gwent is a card game set in the Witcher universe. Basically, it's the best of 3, so you have to win 2 out of 3 rounds, and the deception is the key to winning the game. Because of the mechanic of winning 2 out of 3 rounds, you can pass one of the rounds on purpose, you can lose on purpose, to basically have easier way with the opponents in the next rounds. The game was first introduced in The Witcher Wild Hunt as a minigame. And basically, after we released The Witcher 3, we've got a lot of emails, texts, Twitter messages, and so on, asking us that we do a standalone version. Basically, fans really want it. So yes, we have decided to do it. We have, made the game from the scratch. Basically, we have changed a lot in it, and here we are.
Did the popularity of Gwent come as a surprise to you guys as well? Did you expect this very warm reaction, or was it a bit of a thing you did not expect?
So I mean, we were confident with the game that it's a good mini game, but we never expected such a huge outcry from the fans for the game, for the standalone version. So yes, it was definitely a big surprise for us, but a pleasant surprise, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. So talking about the standalone game, then what's new? How has it changed from the game we played in The Witcher 3?
So Gwent standalone basically provides the players with a multiplayer experience. You can play against your friends and against people from all over the world, and basically because of this, we had to rebalance the whole game. We had to rebalance all the cards. We added a lot of abilities for the cards, like most of them right now do something very specific for them and something interesting. We had added additional rules to the deck building. Like in the Wild Hunt version of the game, you could have like all hero cards you wanted. There was no limit. In the standalone version, you can have up to 4 hero cards. Basically, it was done so the game is more balanced for the multiplayer. Aside for the multiplayer part, which is very important, we have also the single-player campaigns, which provide the players with experience of storytelling that you might be familiar with from our previous games. Albeit in a different form, because obviously this is a card game, and yes, so you explore the map and you encounter the battles which are played out in Gwent battles.
It was actually quite surprising to hear that you guys are building a kind of a story-based single-player experience into Gwent as well. Did you talk about this already from the beginning, or did the idea of adding single-player come on a bit later?
No, actually, I mean, at the beginning, like I said, we didn't expect to even do the standalone version. Then after the pleas from the fans, we decided to do the standalone version, and guys were working on it for some time. And then in December of last year, I moved to this project, because previously I worked on The Witcher Wild Hunt. I moved to this project to work on the single player, and basically, yes, I mean, that's when we more or less came up with how the single player campaign will look in detail. So yes, this was my job for since December so far, and it's still evolving. We still have a lot of new ideas we are introducing into this, but yeah, we didn't plan it from the beginning.
Could you maybe elaborate a bit on the single-player aspect of the game as well? So how do you tell a compelling story and build it around the collectible card game?
So the single-player campaigns basically revolve around a specific faction. You play as a leader of one of the leaders from this faction, and you are building up your army as you go through the story. The story is delivered through few different forms, basically. So we have dialogues with the big characters that you can see, that they are animating, they are talking, and you hear the voiceovers and all. Then you have the cutscenes, which are drawn by the same people that were drawing cutscenes for Witcher Wild Hunt. They basically showed more complicated scenes that couldn't be shown in the dialogue. And then we have the story events that basically have like these nice illustrations that show the scenes and the narrator is describing what's happening on the scene. In all of those forms you have choices, and those choices have real consequences in game. So for example, some characters might join your army, or you might change something later on in the story because you did something very specific in the, in the encounters in the world. You explore the map, you encounter these dialogues, these scenes and battles, of course, and yes, there are a lot of other cool features we are thinking of, but we're not talking about yet because we're still developing them. But I would say those are the basic tools we use to tell stories in Gwent.
So there are different branching storylines, so to say. The story can have multiple endings, just like the
Yes.
Witcher 3 main game.
Yes, exactly.
All right. And there, as you mentioned, there's a map you can explore as well, so it takes
Yes.
place in an open world then?
Yes, it's you could call it open world. Basically, you explore the map from this. How do you call it? It's a different perspective. It's isometric perspective.
Right.
Basically, you explore the map with your avatar. You can find hidden objects. You progress the story, but you can always come back and gather the things you missed before. There might be some plot points after which you can't come back, but this is something we're still thinking of. So will it be fully open, or will it have these choke points that you can't go back from? It's still to be decided. But we are doing everything we can to keep it as open as possible because I think it's cool that you can basically go back and to the places you missed, or to find all the secrets we have hidden for you. But yeah, it's yet to be seen.
Right. Talking about the new additions, then you mentioned that there are some new cards, of course, new abilities as well. Could you maybe bring us a couple of examples? What will we have in the Gwent standalone game that we did not have in The Witcher 3?
Yeah, definitely. So, for example, we have a Geralt card here on the wall, and in the base Gwent, in the Witcher Wild Hunt Gwent, we had him as a pure value character. But we have added few aspects to him. So there is Geralt that casts Igni, basically, and Igni is ability that destroys opponent units in the melee row, but it also melts ice, so basically removes frost from the board. There is this ability that basically allows a unit to stay on the board between the rounds. Basically, some of the dwarves have this ability. They are resilient, so they don't go off the board after one round of the game ends. There is this card, Zoltan card, that allows you to summon his faithful companion, Field Marshal Duda. It's a parrot. And basically, this parrot can have two different abilities as well. So you have a choice. You can use him as a boost to your units, or you could place him on the opponent's side of the board and have him discourage his units. So as you can see, we are thinking of different variety for abilities, and these abilities are tailored for who those characters really are. So they basically fit their personalities and their lore.
All right, and when is Gwent out?
Well, we haven't announced the release date yet, but we are releasing the closed beta in October 25th. So basically you can sign up for closed beta right now, and depending on our testing criteria, we'll be letting people play the game.
And on which platforms can we play Gwent?
First, we are releasing on PC and Xbox One, later PS4, and that is it for the release.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gamescomil aitab seigelda punktid.ee